Today, I'm putting this $350 Ninja Slushie machine to the ultimate test. Can it actually recreate 4 iconic fast food desserts? I'm comparing each one to the real thing, rating it on taste, texture, and whether it'd actually make it again. And one of them really surprised me with how close the taste actually was. Starting with the most iconic, a Wendy's Frosty, which definitely has this softer, kind of milky texture. Let's taste it just to remind ourselves. And this is the flavor we're gonna be chasing. A little malty and a little bit cold, not icy. If the slushie machine can match this, I'll definitely be impressed. This recipe starts with 2.5 cups of chocolate milk, 7 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, and 2 ounces of Cool Whip, which hopefully will give it the texture. I put it together in this pitcher just so it's gonna be a little easier to pour, and now I'm just gonna whisk all the ingredients together to make sure it's nice and smooth. Now we'll get this poured into our slushie machine through the top right here. And because this is essentially a milkshake, we're gonna run it on the milkshake setting and then make it just a little bit colder so we get a little bit of a thicker milkshake. And in 20 minutes, we'll see if this turns into fast food heaven or a chocolate snow cone. The texture inside of it looks impressively accurate. So let's get pouring, and it's coming out nice and smooth and really does look like a Frosty so far. But now, let's taste it. I'm starting with the original as a quick reminder. Our baseline is set. Now for the slushie that I made, which has basically the same texture on a spoon. Okay, those are weirdly similar. So the Frosty has a little bit more of a malty texture. It's kind of like a cocoa powder sort of taste. The one in the slushie machine is actually much smoother and a better texture. And I would say the flavor is actually better too. So texture-wise, I have to give the slushie we made a 10 out of 10. It's just as good, if not better, than the one from Wendy's. And flavor-wise, I'm going 10 out of 10 as well. Again, I think the flavor is genuinely just better than the one straight from Wendy's. So would I make it again? Definitely. Next up, the minty green classic from McDonald's, the Shamrock Shake. You either love it like me or think it tastes like toothpaste. There's pretty much no in between. Let's do a quick taste test so that we know where we're starting our basis from here. Oh yeah, it's super sweet, it's minty, it's creamy, and definitely a little bit artificial in the best way. This recipe starts with 1 cup of whole milk, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, a 1/4 teaspoon of peppermint extract, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and then this is obviously optional, but I'm going with about a couple drops of green food coloring so that it looks like a Shamrock Shake. And now we mix it up again, and I am realizing that I did not make 16 ounces of liquid here, which is the minimum, so I'm gonna double this recipe, just like that, run it on the same milkshake setting, and in 20 minutes, I will be right back. Now, it's definitely green, which I expected from the food coloring, and dispensing it, okay, it looks a little bit thinner, and the green is a little bit off, but not too bad so far. So, let's get to tasting. Let's hit the baseline shake once more, just to remember. And now, the one we made. The consistency is close, but this one is quite a bit icier than McDonald's Shamrock Shake. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 in terms of texture. In terms of flavor though, the one that I made, the mint flavor is completely off. It doesn't have that same creaminess that the McDonald's one has, and the sweetness isn't even close to the same as McDonald's. Overall, I don't really like the one that's made in the slushie here compared to McDonald's Shamrock Shake. I'm gonna give flavor a 3 out of 10. So would I make this again? With this exact recipe, definitely not, but if I can adjust and maybe add a little bit of milk and sugar, then maybe once a year on St. Patty's Day, it's worth whipping up in the slushie machine. For this next one, we're going a bit off the rails. It's gonna be the Dairy Queen Oreo Blizzard. It's not a drink and it's definitely not pourable, which makes it the perfect challenge. As always, let's do a baseline test. And as expected, it's so good. The blended Oreos in there, the chunks of Oreos that you get, the thickness of the ice cream, it's just perfect. This recipe has 3/4 cup of whole milk and 1.5 cups of vanilla ice cream that I've melted down because if it wasn't melted, it wouldn't be able to go into the slushie. And next up is 6 tablespoons of Oreos that I've finely crushed. I'll give this one a quick mix so that those Oreos get nice and incorporated in there, and hopefully this is fine enough to fit into our slushie machine. Let's get it poured in, and it does look like it's gonna be perfectly straining down into there so that none of the Oreos get caught at the top. And once again, unsurprisingly, we're going on the milkshake setting, but I'm gonna make it a little bit colder once again because we want it to be really nice and thick. So inside it definitely looks Oreo colored and I see lots of Oreos, but the texture is gonna be the real wild card, and that's already looking super liquidy compared to a Blizzard, unfortunately. For the last step, let's add in some chunks of Oreos too, and hopefully that helps the texture a little bit. Put like a tablespoon of Oreo chunks on the top and give it a quick mix around. You can see how liquidy this is, so I'm gonna use a straw for this one. But first, once again, let's baseline. And it's way thicker. Let's get to our actual drink. Hopefully at least the flavor is comparable. Okay, wait a minute. This is surprisingly legit. So texture-wise, this is pretty obvious. You're getting ice cream from Dairy Queen and more like a liquid milkshake from the Ninja Slushie. I have to go 5 out of 10 on texture because it just doesn't match up. However, flavor-wise, these are almost exactly the same flavor. For that reason, I have to give the flavor a 10 out of 10. It's absolutely delicious. Maybe if I would've went a little thicker on the slushie somehow, the texture would've got there too, but I'm not too disappointed, and I would definitely make this one again. And finally, the strawberries and cream frappuccino from Starbucks. This one was a childhood favorite drink of mine. Quick taste test to see what we're making. It's creamy, it's really sweet, and it's got kind of a fake strawberry artificial taste to it. But overall, it's basically dessert in a cup. This recipe starts with 1.5 cups of strawberry milk, which honestly, I can't remember the last time I had strawberry milk. And then once again, we have melted vanilla ice cream, about 1/2 cup this time. Next up, about 2 teaspoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Make sure you get that real vanilla. As always, let's mix her up a little bit to get the ingredients kind of blended together. And let's pour into the top. Shouldn't be anything that has risk of getting caught this time. And let's run this one on the Frapp setting. I think that would make the most sense. The color inside definitely looks pretty legit so far. Okay, dispensing out similar texture to Starbucks for sure. One more check of our Starbucks just to make sure we know what we're tasting. And now for the one we made. Okay, that is absolutely fire. Oh. Going back to the Starbucks is actually terrible after trying this one. The strawberry flavor is much more of a real strawberry versus what feels super artificial. The ice cream in this makes the creamy texture and sweetness of it significantly better than the Starbucks drink as well. And the texture of this is even a little bit thicker, which I definitely prefer. I'm gonna have to go 10 out of 10 on texture and 10 out of 10 on flavor. Honestly, I'd go 11 out of 10 if I could break the scale. This thing could definitely put Starbucks out of business. Would I make it again? Absolutely, and it's gonna be hard to convince me not to make this every day. If you want even more Ninja Slushie recipe inspiration, I also made alcoholic recipes, and there's a bunch of them in this video right here.